our magazine and radio trailer and documentary, we wanted to make sure that we had consistency through our products. We decided before starting to produce anything, we should think about our brand identity. For example, the colour scheme. One colour that we knew would be suitable for our documentary was the colour red. Now, red normally has connotations of danger, panic, blood, or love. Although we did not need the love connotation at all, we knew that these three would be very useful to our project. The connotations of danger and panic would have been very useful to us, which we knew from the start, as we knew that stress can cause a lot of panic within a student. The connotations of danger and panic were very useful to us, as we knew that stress can cause students to panic and it can actually be dangerous to their health, which is something we did prove during our documentary. We thought having this representation from the start would let people know that we were serious and that the issues we were raising were serious issues, not just complaining, which is what most teenagers' stress is passed off as people don't believe that it's really affecting them to the extent at which they claim. The connotations of blood were also going to be useful to us, as we knew from talking to the psychologist, which we had planned to talk to from the start, that it does affect your blood pressure levels and has other effects on the body, such as with the brain and the kidneys, which we learnt about when talking about the stress response. I think getting this element in further emphasised how serious the condition is and how it is something that needs to be prevented. So the colour red was one that we were definitely adamant that we would use from the start. Some other colours that we decided to incorporate into our work were the colours black and white. We knew that these colours would contrast well, so it would make it stand out. This is why we chose to use them for the title page, as we knew the white would be more prominent against the back and it would make it easy to remember the title. Grey was used in to bring in connotations of gloom and doom. This is important as with our subject we wanted to show how gloomy it is for the teenagers and how they have this impending sense of doom from the amount of stress they're put under. We used this colour scheme for our magazine. We made sure the title and the cover story subtitle were in red and black, as these were two very dominant colours which we picked out before that we thought brought in the right connotations and that stood out well. We used the grey background to show the amount of gloom associated with this subject. We also tied it in other ways, using a model that had a green jumper on with purple chairs in the background and the purple and green books. These all linked together, making a nice colour palette on that page, but they were also the colours of the college that we went to visit, so it brought in that terms of brand identity. We also included this, which is a animation figure from our animation which we used in the documentary. This was kind of used as a sort of logo, and we wanted to have it consistent, and it also kind of alluded to what was in the documentary, which was very useful because we wanted them to know that we'd put time into it and that we had animations, which would be reassuring for a young audience who probably wouldn't want to watch a documentary that was very text-based heavy or just had lots of facts being put at them with no real visual aspects. We included screenshots from our documentary as well, to give them a feel of what would be in the documentary from the start. all these elements, I think, made a very good link between the documentary and the magazine. However, there wasn't really many links to the radio trailer because it was such a different format. But we did include this pull quote. Now, the pull quote in this, we found out from our audience feedback, was not so popular, I think because it was a bit confusing with everything else on the screen. But this was the pull quote that we used in both the documentary and the radio trailer. This consistent quote linked them all together and made it clear that these were products for the same show. Aside from the same pull quote, there are also clear links from the magazine to the documentary. For example, the title, Stressed Out, we used the same text to make sure that we established our branding and so that they could see that this was the same product. We also used the same colour scheme for this aspect as we thought it would be good because the white really stands out against the black and kind of represents sort of the students and their purity or happiness, I suppose, against this big black daunting force that is stress. The main links between the radio trailer and our documentary are the sound bites. The sound bites used in the radio trailer are that of Kevin, who is a student support officer in the college, and there is also a second soundbite, which is the one featured in both the documentary opening and the magazine. These pull quotes link the topics together, and the use of a different pull quote, the one from Kevin, kind of shows that we're giving the teenagers, or at least someone who works very closely with them and understands them, a bit more of a voice, which I think is better in this particular version. There is also links through the use of music. Now, the music that we used was the music that we used in the documentary, and it is a song that has the same name as our title. This kind of keeps the brand very closely in this trailer and reminds them what the topic is. It also kind of brings in the same emotions that you get from it in the documentary, which is this constant reminder of stress, and like it's always in the background, even if the stress is not at the forefront of people's life, it's always in the back of their mind. And it kind of just shows the consistency and the amount of stress that these children are under.
Overall, I believe we did have a very good sense of brand identity amongst our products. There were a few problems with the brand identity in some elements. For example, the jumper, which kind of represented the college in the magazine, was not as green as we would like it to be. We could not change it because it would mess up the lighting of everything else in the shot. We didn't want that. Also, there were the elements that we missed out in the radio trailer, such as you can't really hear the title, which is something that we would have rendered if we had more time, but unfortunately it was unable to be done. And I think overall we did alright with what we did with the time, because you can see clear links between all the products. It's clear what colour scheme we were going for. You can tell the links through the different sound bites and pull quotes that give a feel for the documentary. And I think overall it was